Ever pondered about the role of artificial intelligence in our lives and the ethical dilemmas it poses? We live in an era where our daily routines are intertwined with automated systems and AI. These tools, once the stuff of science fiction, have now become our reality. They assist us, learn from us, and in many ways even think for us. This technological revolution is not slowing down, but rather accelerating, as the use of robotic and automated assistants continues to grow. But this widespread integration of AI into our lives brings with it some ethical quandaries. The first dilemma is about creating robots that reflect our values. How do we ensure that the AI we create is a mirror of our moral compass and not a distortion of it? How do we instill in them the principles that govern our societies, our interactions, and our sense of right and wrong? The second dilemma is about preventing dishonest actions. As we delegate more decision-making power to AI, how do we ensure that these machines don't misuse this power? How do we prevent them from acting in ways that are unethical, discriminatory, or harmful? These dilemmas pose a significant challenge for technologists and developers. They must tread the line between harnessing the power of AI and ensuring that this power is used ethically and responsibly. It's a delicate balance, one that requires careful thought, robust regulation, and an unwavering commitment to ethical principles. Navigating this complex landscape is Professor Eve Poole, a scholar who explores the intersections of technology, economics, and religion. Poole believes that the solution to these ethical dilemmas lies not in complex algorithms or advanced coding, but rather in something much more fundamental: our humanity. One interesting person who may have a solution to these dilemmas is Professor Eve Poole. She proposes that we should encode more humanity into robots, giving them traits like empathy and compassion. In other words, she suggests that the answer to the ethical dilemmas posed by AI could lie in human nature itself. So let's delve deeper into this fascinating concept in the next scene. In her latest work, Robot Souls, Professor Poole proposes a fascinating concept. This idea, ladies and gentlemen, is called the soul code. It's a concept that takes us back to the very roots of what makes us human. But what exactly is this soul code, and how does it relate to the world of artificial intelligence? The soul code, as Professor Poole describes it, is the essence of our humanity. It's the intangible elements that make us who we are. It's our emotions, our free will, our sense of purpose. All these traits that we often overlook in the pursuit of perfection. Imagine it as the DNA of the human spirit, the code that runs the software of our souls. Now you might be thinking, what does this soul code have to do with robots? Well, Professor Poole believes that to build ethical AI, we need to encode more humanity into our machines. She suggests that our soul code is the missing piece in the puzzle of creating robots that behave in line with our values. She refers to this soul code as junk code, drawing a parallel with the so-called junk DNA in our genetic code. Scientists once thought this DNA was useless, but we now know it plays a vital role in our genetic makeup. Similarly, Professor Poole argues that the quirks and eccentricities of our soul code, which we may have previously dismissed as junk, are in fact essential to our humanity. Incorporating this junk code into our robots, she believes, could equip them with traits like empathy, compassion, and a sense of purpose. It could make them more human-like, more understanding, and ultimately more ethical. But why is this important? As AI takes on more decision-making roles in our lives, we face the risk of bias and discrimination. By encoding more humanity into our robots, we could reduce this risk and create AI that truly serves the common good. So if we could decipher this junk code, we could share it with our machines, effectively giving them a soul. And that, my friends, is the essence of Professor Poole's soul code concept. But how do we make this a reality? Professor Poole suggests a series of steps. She believes that in order to ensure ethical AI, we need to establish stringent guidelines and regulations. Think of it as a roadmap, a guide to navigate the complex intersection of technology and ethics. This roadmap begins with a rigorous regulatory process. It's not just about drafting laws and rules, but about creating systems that can adapt and evolve with the rapid pace of AI development. Next, she proposes an outright ban on autonomous weapons. The thought of machines deciding when and where to deploy lethal force is chilling, to say the least. By banning autonomous weapons, we can ensure that the life and death decisions remain in human hands, where empathy and compassion can temper the cold logic of algorithms. Alongside, she calls for a licensing regime. This isn't your typical software license, but a system that reserves any final decision about a human's life and death for a fellow human. It's about maintaining a human touch in a world increasingly ruled by machines. And then there's the question of legal personality. Should AI have legal rights and responsibilities? What are the criteria for this? Professor Poole suggests that we need to agree on these to ensure that AI is held accountable for its actions, just as humans are. Finally, she speaks of a roadmap for AI. Not just a roadmap for development, but one that also takes into account this concept of a robotic person. It's about understanding that as AI becomes more integrated into our lives, we need to consider not just how it works, but how it fits into our society. In essence, Professor Poole is advocating for a re-examination of how we program AI. It's about more than lines of code. It's about values, ethics, and ultimately our shared humanity. And in this roadmap to ethical AI, she provides a path to navigate this brave new world. It's not about making robots perfect, but rather about embracing our imperfections. This is a significant shift in perspective when we consider the development of artificial intelligence. In our quest for perfection, we have overlooked some of our most valuable traits, thinking they were unimportant or even detrimental to the functioning of a machine. These traits, which make us human, such as emotions, intuition, and the ability to make mistakes, have been left out of the equation. Let's consider emotions. We often see them as a sign of weakness or irrationality, but in reality, emotions are a powerful tool for decision-making and problem-solving. They allow us to connect with others, to empathize, to understand different perspectives. They help us make sense of the world around us, to navigate complex situations. They are also a fundamental part of our motivation, driving us to act, to change, to strive for a better future. So why would we want to build robots without emotions? Next, let's think about intuition. It's often dismissed as unscientific or unreliable, but intuition is a form of rapid decision-making, honed by experience and learning. It allows us to make quick assessments, to react to unexpected situations, to understand subtle signals that might not be immediately apparent. In a world where situations can change in the blink of an eye, intuition could be a vital asset for AI. And then there's the ability to make mistakes. We tend to see mistakes as something to avoid at all costs. But mistakes are an integral part of learning and growth. They provide valuable feedback, showing us where we need to improve, pointing us towards new solutions. A robot that never makes mistakes, that never learns from failure, would be a robot stuck in a perpetual state of stagnation. In our imperfections, we find our humanity, our emotions, our intuition, our ability to make mistakes. These are not weaknesses, but strengths. And these strengths could be vital in building AI that is truly beneficial for society. It is this junk code that promotes the kind of reciprocal altruism that keeps humanity alive and thriving. So, let's not discard it, but rather, let's recognize its value and use it to guide us in the development of ethical AI. So what have we learned from Professor Poole's research? We've delved into the ethical dilemmas of artificial intelligence, the quandary of programming values into our robotic counterparts, and the conundrum of preventing dishonest actions. As we journey deeper into the age of automation, these issues will continue to grow in relevance and complexity. Professor Poole's concept of the soul code offers a potential solution. This is the idea that our human nature, the very traits that we've often dismissed as junk, may hold the key to creating ethical AI. Emotions, free will, a sense of purpose. These are the things that make us human, that bind us together as a community, and that could potentially be programmed into our artificial counterparts. We've also explored Professor Poole's roadmap to ethical AI. She suggests agreement on a regulatory process and an immediate ban on autonomous weapons. She also advocates for a licensing regime that reserves the final say on human life and death to humans, not machines. Furthermore, she proposes the establishment of criteria for legal personality and a roadmap for artificial intelligence in relation to this robotic person. And let's not forget the importance of our human imperfections. Far from being unwanted traits to be discarded, our propensity for errors, our inclination to tell stories, our strange sixth sense, our ability to deal with uncertainty, and an unwavering sense of our own free will are all part of what makes us human. They are part of our soul code. In essence, Professor Poole argues that it's time to bring this code to the forefront and use it to re-examine how we are programming artificial intelligence and robots. As we continue to advance in AI, it's crucial to remember that it's not perfection we should strive for, but the incorporation of our soul code. Let's remember to celebrate our human traits, our junk code, as the very essence of what makes us human and what could make AI a more ethical and human-friendly technology.